She was just the help. My father lost his mind at the end. Those words came out of Marcus Thornwell's mouth before he even sat down in my courtroom. I am Judge Frank Caprio, and in 34 years on the bench at Providence Municipal Court, I have heard a lot of disrespectful things, but something about the way he said just the help made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I looked at the small woman sitting on the other side of the courtroom. She had her hands folded in her lap. Her eyes were down. She looked like she wanted to disappear. I knew right then this was going to be one of those days. This is Providence Municipal Court, where I see people from every walk of life. Rich, poor, angry, scared, guilty, innocent. I treat them all the same because that is what justice means. If you believe justice should be equal for everyone, you will want to see what happens next. My bailiff, Officer Stevens, called the case. Case 2026 TR 4782, Estate Challenge Hearing, Marcus Thornwell versus Rosa Delgado. I looked at my papers. This was not a normal traffic case. This was a probate matter that got kicked to my courtroom because of harassment complaints. Marcus Thornwell was challenging his father's will. His father, William Thornwell, had died 6 months ago. William had been a successful businessman, quiet and fair from what I had read. He left his estate divided in an unusual way. His son Marcus got the business, the investments, and the vacation properties. That was worth about $12 million. But he left the main family house and $2 million in cash to Rosa Delgado, the housekeeper. Marcus was furious. He filed legal challenges. He sent threatening letters. He showed up at Rosa's door with lawyers, trying to scare her into giving up the inheritance. That was why she filed a restraining order. That was why we were all here today. "Good morning, Mr. Thornwell," I said, keeping my voice professional. "Please have a seat." He walked to the defendant's table like he owned the building. His lawyer, a nervous-looking man in a gray suit, followed behind carrying 2 heavy briefcases. Marcus did not even glance at Rosa. He just sat down, crossed his legs, and checked his phone. "Mr. Thornwell, phone's away in my courtroom, please." He looked up at me like I had just asked him to fly to the moon. Then he smiled. Not a nice smile, a smile that said he thought this was all a waste of his time. He put the phone in his pocket, but he made sure I saw him roll his eyes first. I turned to Rosa. "Ms. Delgado, thank you for being here. I know this has been difficult." She nodded. Her lawyer, a public defender named Janet Ruiz, put a hand on her shoulder. Rosa's eyes were red. I could tell she had been crying recently, maybe this morning, maybe in the car on the way here. She looked exhausted. "Ms. Delgado worked for the Thornwell family for 38 years, Janet explained. She started when Marcus was just a baby. She cooked, cleaned, and helped raise him after his mother passed away when he was 7 years old. William Thornwell's will was very clear. He wanted Rosa to have security for the rest of her life." "Security?" Marcus laughed out loud. The sound bounced off the courtroom walls. "She got $2 million and a house worth another $3 million. That is not security. That is robbery." I held up my hand. "Mr. Thornwell, you will get your turn to speak. Right now, I am listening to Ms. Delgado's side." He leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling. His lawyer whispered something to him. Marcus ignored him. Janet continued. "Your Honor, since Mr. Thornwell filed his legal challenge, Rosa has received over 40 threatening phone calls. He has shown up at the house 7 times, sometimes late at night, demanding she sign papers giving up her inheritance. He posted on social media calling her a thief and a con artist. She cannot sleep. She cannot eat. She is terrified." I looked at Marcus. "Is this true? Have you contacted Ms. Delgado directly?" His lawyer started to answer, but Marcus cut him off. "Of course I contacted her. That is my house. My father built that house. I grew up in that house. She is a housekeeper. Why does a housekeeper need a $5 million inheritance?" "Because your father wanted her to have it," I said quietly. "My father was sick," Marcus shot back. "He had cancer. He was on pain medication. He was not thinking clearly." Janet stood up. "Your Honor, I have medical records from Mr. Thornwell's doctors. He was completely mentally competent when he made his will. In fact, he made a video statement explaining his wishes. We have that video here today. Marcus's face changed. Just for a second, I saw something flicker in his eyes. Fear, maybe. Or anger. What video? The video your father recorded 3 weeks before he died, Janet said calmly. He knew you would react this way. He wanted to make sure everyone understood why he made the choices he made. I want to see it, I said. Janet pulled out a laptop and set it up. The courtroom got very quiet. Rosa was staring at the table. Her hands were shaking. Marcus was leaning forward now, his jaw tight. The video started. William Thornwell appeared on the screen. He was sitting in a hospital bed, thin and pale, but his eyes were sharp. A doctor stood next to him, confirming the date and stating that William was of sound mind. Then William started talking. If you are watching this, I'm gone. And if you are watching this, Marcus is probably angry. A few people in the gallery, the area where the public sits, shifted in their seats. This was intense. I am leaving Rosa Delgado my home and $2 million because she earned it. She gave our family 38 years of her life. When my wife died, Rosa stepped in. She raised my son. She was there for every scraped knee, every bad dream, every school play. She worked 6 days a week. She never complained. She loved Marcus like he was her own child. I glanced at Marcus. His face was red now. His hands were gripping the armrests of his chair. William's voice continued. Marcus, you are getting $12 million. You are getting the business I built. You are getting the properties, the investments, everything I worked for. But you did not earn the house. Rosa earned the house. She made it a home, and I will not let you take that from her. The video ended. The courtroom was silent. I could hear someone in the back row crying softly. I looked at Marcus. Your father seemed very clear about his intentions. Marcus exploded. This is insane. She manipulated him. She was around him all the time while he was sick. She probably whispered in his ear, made him feel guilty. This is elder abuse. Mr. Thornwell, I said, my voice harder now, you need to calm down. Calm down? I am being robbed, and you want me to calm down? Janet pulled out a folder. Your Honor, I have evidence of Mr. Thornwell's harassment. First, phone records. She handed me a thick stack of papers. 43 calls in 2 months. Here are some text messages he sent to Rosa's phone. I read them. My stomach turned. They were cruel, vicious, calling her names I will not repeat here, threatening to destroy her, telling her she would end up homeless and alone. I also have security camera footage, Janet said. From the house, Marcus showed up on October 14th at 11 p.m. He was pounding on the door, yelling. Rosa called the police. Here is the police report. I looked at the report. The officer noted that Marcus appeared intoxicated and aggressive. They gave him a warning and told him to leave. And finally, Janet said, pulling out her phone, I have this. She played a recording. It was Marcus's voice, loud and angry. You think you deserve my family's money? You are a maid. You clean toilets. My father felt sorry for you, but I do not. Sign the papers, or I will make your life hell. The gallery erupted. People were shaking their heads. Someone said, Unbelievable. I banged my gavel. Order. Marcus stood up. His face was purple now. That was a private conversation. You left it on her voicemail, Janet said coldly. Mr. Thornwell, sit down, I ordered. He did not sit. He pointed at Rosa. She does not deserve that money. She is nobody. She is just a servant who got lucky because my father went soft at the end. And then he said it, the thing I will never forget. My father left millions to the woman who scrubbed our floors. What is next? Are we going to start giving inheritance to the gardener, the mailman? Should I write a check to every person who smiled at my dad? The courtroom went dead silent. 10 full seconds. I counted them. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Then the gallery erupted. People were shouting. Officer Stevens had to step forward to restore order. I just sat there, staring at Marcus. He realized too late what he had just done. His lawyer had his head in his hands. Rosa was crying now. Not loud, just quiet tears running down her face. I took a deep breath. Mr. Thornwell, sit down. He sat. I leaned forward. Marcus, look at me. He looked. Do you know what I see when I look at you? I see a man who has had every advantage in life: money, education, opportunity. I see a man who got $12 million from his father and is still not satisfied. I see a man who thinks people are worth something only if they have money or status. I pointed at Rosa. That woman sitting over there raised you. She wiped your tears when you were scared. She made your meals. She washed your clothes. She was there when you were sick. She loved you, and you just called her nobody. Marcus looked away. No, look at me, Marcus. My voice was steel now. You said she scrubbed your floors like that makes her less than you. Let me tell you something. There is more dignity in an honest day's work than in all the money you will ever have. Your father knew that. That is why he made the will the way he did. He was trying to teach you something. I picked up the video transcript. Your father said Rosa earned that house. Do you know what that means? It means value is not just about money. It is about character. It is about showing up. It is about love. Marcus's jaw was clenched. He was not looking at me anymore. He was staring at the table. You have $12 million, Marcus. $12 million. And you are in my courtroom harassing a 64-year-old woman because you want more. You have sent her threatening messages. You have shown up at her home at night. You have tried to intimidate her into giving up what your father wanted her to have. That is not just disrespectful. That is cruel. I let that word hang in the air. Cruel. Your father loved you enough to leave you a fortune, but he also loved Rosa, and he had the right to leave his property to whoever he wanted. That is the law. And you, Marcus, do not get to change that just because you do not like it. I looked at the evidence in front of me. Here is what is going to happen. First, the restraining order Ms. Delgado filed is granted. You are not allowed within 500 feet of her or the property. If you violate that, you will be arrested. Marcus's lawyer nodded quickly. Second, you're going to pay a fine of $50,000. That money will go to a local charity that helps working families in Rosa Delgado's name. Marcus's eyes went wide. 50,000? You have 12 million, Marcus. I think you can afford it. Third, you are going to perform 200 hours of community service, and not just any community service. You are going to work at a senior care facility. You are going to help people who spent their lives working hard, just like Rosa. You are going to clean, serve meals, listen to their stories. You will do this every Saturday and Sunday for the next 6 months, 8 hours each day. The facility director will report back to me monthly. His lawyer started to object, but I held up my hand. Fourth, you are going to write a handwritten apology to Rosa Delgado, a real one, not something your lawyer writes. You are going to apologize for the names you called her, the threats you made, and the pain you caused. You will deliver it to this court, and I will decide if it is sincere enough. Marcus was shaking his head. This is insane. Fifth, I continued, you are going to record a public service announcement approved by this court about respecting service workers and honoring the wishes of the deceased. It will be posted online and shared with local schools. You cannot make me do that, Marcus said. Yes, I can. Because you violated a restraining order, engaged in harassment, and showed contempt for this court and for basic human decency. And if you refuse any part of this sentence, I will hold you in contempt, and you will spend 30 days in jail. Do you understand? His lawyer whispered urgently in his ear. Marcus's face was bright red. His hands were shaking. Do you understand, Mr. Thornwell? Yes, he said through gritted teeth. Your Honor, his lawyer said, standing up, we request a recess to discuss. Request denied. Mr. Thornwell, one more thing. You are going to sit in this courtroom and watch the rest of your father's video. The part where he talks about watching you grow up. The part where Rosa is in the background of every memory. You are going to listen. Janet played the second half of the video. William talked about Marcus's childhood, his first day of school, the time he broke his arm falling off his bike, and Rosa stayed up with him all night, his high school graduation. Every story, Rosa was there, in the background, steady, loving, never asking for anything. By the end of the video, Rosa was sobbing. A few people in the gallery were crying too. Marcus just sat there, stone-faced. When it ended, I looked at him one more time. Your father gave you everything, Marcus. He also gave Rosa what she deserved. The fact that you cannot see the difference is why you are in my courtroom today. Bailiff, please make sure Mr. Thornwell has all the paperwork for his community service and fine payment. He has 30 days to begin his service. Ms. Delgado, the restraining order is in effect immediately. If he contacts you, call the police. Rosa nodded, wiping her eyes. Janet squeezed her hand. Marcus stood up. He looked at me one last time. You are going to regret this. I banged my gavel. Mr. Thornwell, you just earned yourself a contempt charge. Officer Stevens, take him into custody. The courtroom erupted again. Marcus's lawyer was frantically trying to backtrack, but it was too late. Officer Stevens walked over, handcuffs ready. Wait, Marcus said, panic in his voice now. I did not mean... You threatened a judge in open court, I said. That is contempt. You will spend the next 72 hours in county jail. Maybe that will give you time to think about respect. The bailiff cuffed him. Marcus was yelling now, saying it was a misunderstanding, but Officer Stevens let him out. The doors closed behind them. The courtroom was still buzzing. I turned to Rosa. Ms. Delgado, I'm sorry you had to go through this. She looked up at me, tears still on her face, and smiled, a real smile. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. 3 months later, I got a letter. It was from the director of the senior care facility where Marcus was doing his service. She said he had been quiet at first, angry, doing the minimum. But something had changed. One of the residents, an 80-year-old woman named Ethel, reminded him of someone. She had been a housekeeper her whole life. She told him stories about raising other people's children while barely seeing her own. Marcus started listening. He started asking questions. He still had a long way to go, but the director said she saw something in him shift, maybe not full change, but a crack in the armor. I also heard that Marcus dropped the legal challenge to the will. Rosa kept the house. She still lives there. She started a scholarship fund for children of domestic workers, using some of the money William left her. As for me, I sat in my chambers that night after the hearing and thought about what I had seen. I have been a judge for a long time. I have seen people at their worst. But I have also seen people learn. Not always. Not even most of the time. But sometimes. Justice is not just about punishment. It is about teaching. It is about reminding people that we all have value, that a life spent caring for others is worth just as much as a life spent making money, maybe more. Marcus called Rosa nobody, but Rosa was never nobody. She was the person who showed up, the person who loved a child who was not hers, the person who worked quietly, without recognition, for nearly 4 decades. And William Thornwell saw that. He honored it. That is what the will was really about. Not money, honor. I hope Marcus learned that. I hope he looked at Ethel and the other people he served and realized that every life has dignity, every person matters. Because if he did not learn it, then all of this was for nothing. But I believe he did. I have to believe that. Because justice is not just about making people pay. It is about making people better. And sometimes, just sometimes, it works.